channel, and we're going live again today for the 800th day in a row. So I just got done filming some long form content actually with these three guns we got here on the table. I of course have the Vector lurking in the background as well, so we may chat about that. But today we're mainly going to focus on these three guys right here, and these are my main weapons that I'm going to be running in the self-defense rotation. I'm kind of going to go through the setup of each of these weapons, kind of why I'm running it, how I'm running it, in what capacity. The three weapons we're going to be talking about today are just going to be the Glock 17 Gen 3. I also have the Taurus G2C sitting on the table. I will talk a lot about this one because I do think it has a place, even though everyone is going to poop all over the Taurus, but that's okay. And then we have this guy sitting over here, the Sig Sauer P365 ALG or AXG Legion. I do not remember which, to be incredibly honest, but that's okay. So really, I guess what kind of brought this, are you a Czech armor fan? I truly do not have much experience with that, if I'm being incredibly honest. So I would have to say no, but I do appreciate the comment. Is there a specific gun in that distribution you wanted to chat about? I'd be more than happy to do it. But anyways, what kind of led this on was I recently just kind of got done filming some content with these three guns here, and really just kind of wanted to informally chit chat a little bit more about them. I think that these three guns are all kind of cool in their own different special way. CZ75. I do like the CZ75 quite a bit. I don't have one in the collection, but I do think it's a good weapon system. As far as concealed carry goes, especially nowadays out on the market, there are a absolute buttload of options. Every company seems to be making like the new, like latest and greatest EDC weapon. And there's so much out on the market. As far as what I have out today, again, it's going to be these three guns right here, and we're going to chat about all of them. But really kind of the thought of this is, don't have any experience with that tightrope walk. But yeah, so again, these are kind of going to be the three main weapons that I run in my EDC setup. Obviously, this is not an all-encompassing list. These are just the three that I feel most confident with and are most comfortable. Like your gun mat. Yeah, dude, appreciate. All right, so the gun mat, actually got this, so it's the AK-47 like gun mat or whatever. Dude, got this on Temu for literally $1.50. So, again, this isn't anything fancy. Like it's literally just that like rubber gun mat. I usually see these selling at the store for like 20 bucks or so a pop, or 25 bucks or something. I don't know. I've seen people try and sell them at the gun shows or whatever for like 30 bucks. But yeah, man, if you want one of these gun mats, fucking check out Temu. They're super cheap and they fucking work. So speaking of Temu, we're kind of going to go dive into the weeds on this, but, not Temu. Do they sell everything? Do they sell specific gun manufacturer brands on Temu? So they'll do, for the gun mats, they have a ton. I know they have AK-47. I know they have Glock. I know they have AR-15 as well. And actually, these two holsters that I have on the table are actually both from Temu as well. This one for the Taurus G2C. I'm in California. How do I get a gun legally without paperwork out of state? I don't know. I think you have to, there are definitely California compliant legal weapon systems. I don't live in California, so you'd have to just go to the gun store and ask. I'm sure they'd help you out. Too bad they don't sell fan gear such as shirts because of licensing issues. Yeah, you could definitely get some fake Temu shit, but honestly, I bought a good handful of things from Temu. This is kind of off gun topics, I guess. But like I said, both these holsters are from Temu. I actually bought like a fake Surefire X300 from Temu as well. Of course, it was, fucking fake and kind of a piece of shit. But it was like 20 bucks or something. And it does fit the X300 holsters. Anything that like I don't really mind throwing away or that I'll buy. Like I said, this mat was $1.50. This holster was actually $2.50 or something along those lines with Temu. Goldie asks, which bore? So these are all 9mm handguns out on the table today. They all shoot 9mm. So kind of, I guess fuck it. We'll start with the Taurus G2C. So everyone will shit all over Taurus, like relentlessly. Not in Canada. So everyone will shit all over the Taurus pretty relentlessly. And I don't know why. I almost kind of feel like it's like Nickelback syndrome in a sense. Whereas like, I'm not going to tell you where I am, but appreciate you asking. So I don't know, again, like Nickelback syndrome, right? Like it's fine. It's cool. It works. It functions. But like FBI, please show me the permit to keep and carry weapons. Do you have a 32 bore? It is common at my place. 32, like a 380 ACP. I don't know what 32 bore is. Nah, man, I'm at Coast if it's over at America. Yeah, I'm in America. I would guess I am west-ish in a sense, maybe. Yeah, so Goldie, I do have a 380 ACP. It's actually, I do have it featured on some of my other videos and some of my other live streams, actually. The 380 weapon that I do have is the Springfield 911. Chambered in 380 ACP. I actually have kind of considered selling that one, if I'm being honest. The 380 ACP, like there's nothing wrong with it. It's one of those things where I don't think it recoils incredibly like that much less than a 9mm. You usually are just going to have more expensive bullets and a little bit of a snappier weapon. Again, kind of the topic of just like 9mm EDC weapons today, pretty much every like EDC carry gun, like all these companies are coming out. Obviously this one here is the P365 Legion version, but it does have these like integrated pumps in the slide here. And pretty much almost every weapon system, like every manufacturer is making their EDC guns with some sort of like ports or comps or something along those lines that really make the 9mm round, not that it's hard to manage overall, but really make it easy to manage. So, kind of in today's market, if I were looking at buying a new EDC weapon, I would personally stay away from 380 ACP. It's not as good ballistically. I don't really think it's any more light recoiling, and the rounds are just kind of more expensive. So although I do have 380s in the collection, I don't really think they're great options in today's day and age with all of the EDC options available. Come to Ukraine. We now free with guns. Yeah, I think that would actually be pretty sick to flop over Ukraine and snag some cool weapon systems. And I'd really like to rescue a nice lady while I'm there. I could get a rescue, I need to get married and have some kids. So maybe I'd get a wife while I'm there too. So kind of going back to the Taurus, we were talking about that one a little bit. So again, I feel like everyone has kind of Nickelback syndrome with the Taurus. It's cool to hate on it, even though there's not that good of a reason for it. This weapon specifically is the Taurus G2C. The only upgrade that I have on this one, actually, fun fact, is another Temu upgrade. It's going to be that little grippy right there. So essentially, that's just like basically a knockoff Talon grip that I, again, got on Temu for literally like $1.50. I do have a couple of videos on this setup already on the channel, and I like this setup specifically because this is a EDC everyday carry setup with everything you see here, the gun, the grip, and the holster, all for under $100, which I think is pretty cool. I did get the gun used at some gun show for I think it was like 60 or 70 bucks. Like I basically paid nothing for this. The holster, like I said, off Temu for $2.50, and the grip off Temu for $1.50. So I got everything here for well under $100, which is like absolutely sick. So why the fuck is the Taurus in line with why is it even on the same table as this gun right here? The P365 ALG Legion is kind of like my top carry gun. I think it's like this gun here shoots incredibly. It's a 17+1 capacity. Obviously we have the comp. It is optics ready. It does have a rail for a light. It's a metal lower frame to this as well. So it really does have some bulk. It comes with a magwell. Again, it's 17+1 capacity. The trigger on this is phenomenal. So FBI, I've got a javelin. Oh, dude, all right. I can't even talk about Call of Duty stuff right now. I actually just got on a 3-game ranked loss, so I'm a little bit butthurt and a little pissy. That's why I switched to the live stream. But this gun to the Taurus G2C, it's fucking night and day, man. But again, if we're talking about price, this gun was $1,300 and this gun was $70. I think MSRP new of the Taurus G2C is like 250-esque, I think. But like I said, I mean, these are pretty common. Everyone shits on Taurus. Everyone wants to get rid of their Taurus. So you can pick these up pretty damn cheap. The reason why this gun is kind of in like the carry collection is, to be honest, I leave this one in the car at all times. To me, having a gun such as this is better than having no gun such as this. Yeah, German, that's funny. You can get one for $180 at the pawn shop. Yeah, man. Any gun that you can get relatively cheap, I think is a good pickup. And to have something like this that like, I just keep this in the car. So a lot of the times, like if I forget my Glock 17 or I forget the P365 and I'm getting out of the car, all right, fuck, I take this out of the, center console, slop it in the waistband, and hey, at least I have a gun on me. As far as this gun specifically, again, everyone will shit on the Taurus, but it's fine, man. I mean, I don't have any reliability issues with it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty fucking snappy. Obviously, it doesn't have the compensator like the 365 over here. But it's a snappy gun, but it's a small 9mm weapon that I keep in the car. If someone breaks into my car and steals it, I'm not going to be thrilled, but I'm not going to be butthurt in a sense of if someone fucking stole this gun out of my car, I would go on a warpath because I do not want my $1,300 gun stolen, $1,300 gun stolen. I like this one quite a bit, and I don't want it to get butthurt. I don't want to be butthurt by it getting stolen. Fucking Christ, sorry. I'm still like sick, so my brain is all like foggy. Do these pistols heat up? Can they be seen through night vision? So I don't know why this guy keeps commenting airsoft, but sure. Do these pistols heat up? Yeah, I mean, any gun is going to heat up when you shoot them. That being, now they're, all right, yeah, whatever. I don't really care if you think they're fake or not, but whatever. Yeah, now any gun is going to heat up when you shoot it. Handguns specifically they don't really heat up as fast as anything like, I'm a pretty big AK guy. AKs are going to heat up really damn fast. Some of these smaller guns, I mean, if you're running hundreds and hundreds of rounds through them, or if you have some sort of full auto capability, yeah, they do get hot, but not to the point where you would have any substantial problems with them. Can they be seen through night vision? Yeah, 100%. If you're shooting these, you're definitely going to see a huge muzzle flash and stuff like that. So, our AKs are Chinese, right? Yeah, you can get AKs in any denomination. There are a lot of Chinese AKs, Romanian AKs, Russian AKs. There's a ton of AKs out on the market. You can really get them wherever. What is the best Glock carry? 26, 27, 29, or Glock 19X? For me, I would 100% get the 19X if those were my options. This one right here is the Glock 17 Gen 3. I would say I probably have about like normal average sized man hands. And for me, the grip of the Glock 17 or the full size Glock frame is where it's at. The Glock 19X, or I would actually recommend the Glock 45 because I don't really like FDE guns, if I'm being honest. But the Glock 19X or the Glock 45 is going to have that Glock 17 frame, and the slide is going to be maybe about a half-inch shorter. So for me, that's what I would carry. Obviously, I have this one out on the table today, and we're talking about my EDC weapons. So I do carry the full-size Glock 17 quite a bit. I want the Glock 13. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, I like the Glock 17. My second favorite Glock, I would definitely have to say, would be the Glock 45. But you could also go with the Glock 47, which is the fucking, Jesus Christ, what's it called? The Border Patrol gun, which is kind of cool. So the Glock 47 is going to be, like, you could actually interchange. It's the Glock 17 full-size frame, but you can interchange a Glock 17 slide or a Glock 19 slide, which is kind of cool. Can you gift me a gun? So we have been talking about doing a giveaway on the channel, maybe in the future. But not right now, and I don't want to promise y'all something that I'm not gonna 100% do. But I really would like to do a giveaway. I think it would be kind of cool. Do you have a Desert Eagle? I do not have a Desert Eagle. I've actually, funny enough, I had a full length video drop today on like kind of the top 3 guns that I would want for Christmas, and the Desert Eagle was definitely on that list. Super impractical weapon system. I of course would get the one chambered in 50 cal with like the gold stuff, and I think it would be super cool. Oh, thanks. He's gonna gift me a Deagle. Nice. Yeah, I would love a Desert Eagle, but an incredibly impractical. I've always wanted the 26 because of the super small compactness. So if I'm going to be honest with you, again, like these are just kind of my opinions. Not that the 26 is like horrible, but if you want a smaller gun for carry, I would definitely recommend something like this, like the P365. That's going to have the integrated, compensator to it. If you don't like the SIG specifically, I would really maybe take a look at some of like the M&P performance centers. I know some of those have like some ports and comps. I would definitely recommend maybe a little bit of a bigger gun with some sort of compensator or ports on it so you can actually control the recoil. As you can see with the Glock 17 and the P365 like side by side, the Glock is substantially bigger, but this gun, because of those ports, actually shoots probably better than the full-size Glock as far as like snappiness is concerned. So not that the Glock 26 is a poor choice, but I definitely think there are some better carry options out there. So nice that the block feature exists. Is that the original trigger? So all 3 of these guns, both the Taurus G2C, the Glock 17 Gen 3, and the P365 Legion here, all have original triggers in them. Thoughts on the Walther PDP? I like that gun. It's cool. I enjoy it. It's fun. Again, I think it has a little bit of like a nostalgia, like GoldenEye, James Bond vibes to it for sure, which is really fucking cool. But as far as like the most practical EDC gun, again, I would probably lean towards one of these like newer weapon systems that have a high capacity with some sort of porter comp. Again, I keep referring back to this one. There are some other great options, but to me, obviously, I spent the fucking money on it. I think this P365 Legion is where it's at. Metal frame, magwell, enhanced grips. It's got a comp. It's not heavy, but it has some weight to it. And that really helps with recoil reduction and muzzle flip reduction. This one is a 17+1 capacity. So I'm essentially getting a pretty small compact weapon system with the capacity of a full-size gun like a Glock. I don't mind carrying the Glock 17. I'm like an average sized dude. I don't have a ton of trouble concealing it. I like carrying the Glock 17. I really feel comfortable with the Glock 17. I've shot it to shit. So like, I'm confident with it. But if I'm being honest with myself, this one is better to carry. It's a little smaller. It's a little less snappy. It's lighter weight. I'm running an Obsidian Rugged 9 on a Glock 17. I shouldn't need a lighter spring due to the Nielsen device, right? Correct. You shouldn't, but my advice would be to run through a bunch of rounds, like a bunch of different weight rounds, just to make sure it's going to be reliable. It's pretty easy to get aftermarket Glock fucking springs and shit if you need them. Pain in the ass, but you should be fine. Sorry, I have to keep like taking drinks because my throat is like, I've been sick for like a week now. Anyways, Rami asks, is that the 365? So yeah, specifically Sig Sauer P365 AXG Legion is this one. The Legion series specifically, I fucking love from Sig. They're really cool. What makes it a Legion, as you can see, it's kind of got like a grayish green, it's kind of hard to appreciate, grayish green Cerakote on it. The P365 Legion version does come with a metal frame, which I absolutely love in a handgun. All these other 2 weapons here, the Glock 17 and the Taurus G2C, do have polymer frames, and I do like the Glock, but there's something about the metal frame handguns that I can just really appreciate. I feel like if I drop... All right, so actually speaking of polymer, with the Chris Vector here, that is my probably absolute biggest beef with the Vector specifically, is it's a super expensive gun and it's all polymer. I could get up and show you, but I do have some like dings and dents on the Vector just because it's polymer, and like I've been super easy. I have not torture tested this gun at all. And even with like very minor like drops in the house, like on fucking carpet, the polymer scratches. And that just, not that I give a shit about like cosmetics too much, but it just kind of pisses me off when I buy a polymer gun because I don't know, there's just something about that metal frame gun that's just going to do a better job holding up over time. Ammo Alchemist, what's up, brother? Do you have a Luger? I do not in the collection, actually. That's scary, JK. How can I sell a store in a third world country? I have no idea what that means. He says he's going insane. Yeah, me too. I tried a full auto vector and bought a consumer one and was disappointed. Yeah, I don't know. I like the vector. I think it's cool. It's vibey. I enjoy being able to shoot 45. I do have this one set up with like a taper mount muzzle device so I can suppress it. It's a lot of fun. But is it the absolute most practical weapon in the whole wide world, especially for the cost? No. It's fun to shoot. I appreciate new guns with like new engineering. So like the, Super V recoiling system of the Vector is pretty sick. I think it's a good thought behind it. Again, in full auto, does this gun shine? Absolutely. Do I have one in full auto? No. So I did actually end up buying a binary trigger for this gun at one point to kind of hopefully simulate that full auto experience. And it didn't really work super well. So I actually ended up selling the binary trigger, which was kind of lame. So now I'm just kind of rocking that stock trigger. And I don't know, it's a cool gun. Didn't really plan to talk about it today, but honestly, I just kind of forgot I had it out from last night. But it's cool, man. Probably not worth the price if I'm being totes my goats honest. CJ says he loves his Glock 17. Yeah, man, I agree. The Glock 17 is classic. I have another, I don't have it out today, but I do have another Glock 17 in the collection that's kind of like all aftermarketed out with the aftermarket slide, aftermarket frame, all that good stuff. I keep this one pretty much bare bones. I have a couple of small upgrades on this. I do have the Talon grip on it. I also am rocking a Strike Industries mag release and then just an extended slide release as well. But for this one specifically, because I do use it for carry and like home defense stuff, I did not want to change out any of the internals to decrease reliability. I don't know why this guy's talking to me about selling his store, but yeah, move over to the U.S., man, but do it legally because Daddy Trump's going to be back in office and he's going to secure the border. Rami says he sold it and got the AP5. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like the Vector. I would personally rather have the Vector than a AP5. Not that there's anything wrong with the AP5 at all. I think the Vector is a little bit cooler. Yeah. I have ham hands, and the things that you can put on to widen the hand just makes it fit just right. Yeah, so this grip doesn't really widen it up too much, but I would recommend the goon tape or something like that, because that, and I have a video on that on my channel as well, just kind of goon taping my aftermarket, it's a SCT Glock frame. But you can kind of just layer that to get the specific width that you want to really get a good grip on the weapon. So definitely recommend some goon tape or hockey tape if you did want to thicken it up. The Talon grips, I kind of bought this out of whim. This was like $20 or something, and I actually just had a Snapchat flashback memory. I've had this grip on, I think for 3 years at this point, and it's held up incredibly well. Jacob, this is Glock 17 Gen 3, Taurus G2C, P365, AXG Legion, and Vectors hanging out in the corner a little bit. Ammo Alchemist says, my buddy has a binary on his Vector, and it's so fast. That sucks it didn't work for you. It's probably something to do with tolerance. Yeah, it worked okay. It worked okay in a sense where sometimes, dude, all of my experiences with binary triggers, it's sometimes they work flawlessly, and then sometimes they just jam the shit out of the gun, and it's it really becomes the least amount of fun. The whole point of the binary trigger is I'm trying to blow through rounds, I'm trying to shoot as fast as I can, and every other time I pull the trigger, if I'm clearing a jam and a malfunction, it kind of completely negates the point. I know for the vector binary triggers specifically, like it's not a Fostech, it's not a Franklin Armory. It's from this guy called Double Tap, I believe is the name of him. And like, I don't know, he seems like a cool dude. I actually was chit chatting with him before I bought one, just like via email, and like he was cool. But like, it's just, he takes a stock vector trigger and like kind of like ghetto rigs it in his garage. And then it's like, all right, here, it's $400 now. And it's like, okay. So it kind of works. It kind of does it. So for me to keep a $400 trigger that wasn't really working for me, I didn't love. My only other gripe with that trigger too was that there was no third position. Like you just have safe or binary. So it, for something that I kind of buy all these guns thinking I'm going to like home defense them, and they all just end up being toys, but whatever. We love Trump from Iran. That is surprising. Jacob, what Glock is that? I think I answered that already. Talon tape is dope as fuck. Agreed, man. I like it. This one is the name brand Talon, and this one, I talked about it a little bit earlier, is the Temu Talon grip that I got off of Temu for $1.50 or something for the Taurus G2C. So it's pretty cool. If you hate it, take it off, man. But this one, I think, I'm almost tempted to take this tape off at this point, just because I've had it on for so long. Like I don't even remember what the OG Glock frame feels like. Glock -7 is the pretty one here. 17. Okay, that makes sense, dude. There is something like real sexy to me about the stock Glock 17. Like it really just kind of gives me my like 90s cop show vibes and like LARP to it. So I do really appreciate that. Like I said, I do have like an aftermarket Glock 17 Gen 3 that's like a little bit more tactical, I guess, in a sense, but this one is more reliable. And there's something about the stock Glock slide specifically, just the weight that it has actually just makes me return to target faster. On the other Glock I have in the collection, I have a threaded barrel, and I usually run like a micro carry comp on it. And it's cool, man. The comp does work pretty well when you're comparing it side by side with no comp. But there's just something about I don't know, like Glock got it right with the 17. Like there's something about the 17, just the way it feels, the weight distribution, the slide weight, the return to target that just really fucking does it for me. Which is kind of funny because I was like, I was a pretty big Glock hater back in the day. I was just like, oh, they're fucking boring and everybody has one. Like, why do you want one? And like, I wouldn't say until you shoot one. Because when you first shoot a Glock, like, I feel like you are a little bit underwhelmed, right? Like when I shot this, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like with the comps, it's not super snappy. It's small. It's got that metal frame. This grip specifically fits my hand really fucking well. But I feel like for a Glock, you have to shoot it you have to buy one and shoot it over time to appreciate, but you can't go wrong with it. And I do really think you'll appreciate it. All right. Sorry. Taking a drink. Ammo Alchemist says, I don't like binary at all that much. Yeah, same. The one credit that I'll give to like Franklin Armory, and I guess Fostech too, is that all of their binary triggers at least have 3 positions in a sense where you could go safe, you can go semi, or you can go binary. So when we're talking about a trigger like that, I don't mind it. Like they're cool. And when they work, I mean, they run. I have one in an AR-15 for like a 300 blackout, like end of the world-esque build. And for a build like that, in my mind, I'd like to have the binary option. Like in a sense, like I'm picturing like, I don't know, I'm just getting shot at from a direction, and I'm just like peek my gun out the corner and just flutter it a little bit and just like give some, I don't know, shoot in that direction, put some lead down range quickly. But if it jams or if it's starting to not work or fuck up or something along those lines, at least you could flip the binary trigger back to semi and at least have a reliable semi-auto trigger. Now, the caveat to that is the fucking price. Those triggers are not cheap. To spend $300 on a trigger, I think, is a little crazy. And to have it be, I don't know, in semi-auto, I feel like the binary triggers are like, they're just a fucking mil-spec AR trigger. So to spend $300 on a binary trigger that's going to work sometimes, I don't know if it's quite worth it for me. Any recommendations for a truck carry as far as options for storage? So There's a couple of different schools of thought that you could really dive into as a truck gun. For me, to be honest, this is my quote unquote truck gun. The reason this Taurus G2C is my truck gun is because it was not expensive. And if someone breaks into my car and steals it, I'm not going to be nearly as pissed as I am if someone breaks into my car and steals a P365 fucking Legion that I spent $1,300 on. I got everything in this setup, the holster, the grip, the Taurus, the gun itself for under $100. So that's why this is like my car slash truck gun. As far as like the most practical truck gun, I'm a huge AK guy. So I would actually recommend like a short barreled AK for a couple of different reasons. The 7.62 by 39 cartridge and caliber specifically is going to do pretty damn well out of a short barrel. So you could have a shorter barrel weapon, store it more easily in the truck or the car, right? And also the AKs, you're going to be able to fold the stock. I know there's some like gimmicky AR, like law folder, tactical fucking things you could buy. I think they're stupid. Not that they're stupid, but like, again, for $350, I don't know, like you really don't, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. I'd rather have an AK. 7.62 by 39 is going to be better out of a shorter barrel. You're going to get a folding, 1913 adapter essentially out of the box. And AKs are just more fun. They're my best bag gun. The kind of truck gun slash bug out bag gun that I'm currently running is the Rifle Dynamics Quick Hatch, and I love that gun quite a bit. No, literally, just plain stock Glock is so sleek and clean. Agree. I do almost wish that I had optics cut on this one. I don't. This is just the OEM Glock 17 Gen 3 frame, which I do really like. And like I said, I do have a second Glock 17 in the collection that does have that is optics ready. I'm usually running a threaded barrel on that, a little bit more like, high speedy type stuff. That's kind of cool. I buy Talon tape, buy the sheet now and cut it. Once you get the hang of it, it's easy. Ammo Alchemist, thanks for turning on. I'll see you later, Bawas. Yeah, dude, the Talon grip is pretty solid. You're gonna get I don't know. If you don't like it, just take it off, man. And that's kind of the best part about it. All right, what are my thoughts on the Glock 26? I don't love it. As I kind of said earlier, I feel like I have normal sized hands, right? And anything smaller than like the Glock 17 frame, like even the Glock 19 frame, I can fucking shoot it, right? But if I were to pick one out for me personally, I can't grip it well enough to get a really good, decrease in recoil and decrease in muzzle flip. I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't shot the Glock 26, but just the size of that frame, I don't personally think I would do very well with it at all. Again, we have a super small gun in a Glock 26. We have a super small capacity of that 10 rounds with the flush mag. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's a Glock. It's going to be reliable. But for me, if I'm talking an EDC gun, to be incredibly honest, man, I don't really get the whole wig out about printing thing. Not that I am trying to fucking print, but I feel like I can rock this Glock 17 in just a normal holster and not really print all that much. Especially when we're talking about something like this with an even smaller frame, I don't print at all. I do really think that I don't know, man, people are idiots. Most people are not really looking around, looking at your waistband and even if they see a small print, I can't possibly imagine that anyone would instantly be oh, he's care. All right, who fucking cares, first of all, right? And second of all, no one's even looking. So to have something with a Glock 26 with a super, super, super small frame, I don't really think is worth it for me. Now, that being said, if you get a good deal on one, or if you shot one before and you really like the way it handles and you really want a super small Glock, a Glock's never going to be a horrible option. I just think for the price, I think I would go with something more like a M&P Shield with the ports on it or something. How much you get that? Well, I don't know which one you're talking about, but the Taurus G2C MSRP is at like $250. I picked this one up used at a gun show for like 60 or 70 bucks. Glock 17, I bought this new. I think I paid 500-ish bucks for it. And then the P365 AXG Legion, I got absolutely fucking hosed. I bought this kind of when it first came out, and I spent $1,300 on it, which is a lot of fucking money. Is what it is. The price of 2 Yeet cannons, I would rather a Glock. Yeah, 100%. I don't really have too much experience with the high points. I've shot a couple of them. I mean, they shoot, but meh. As much as everyone will shit on the Glock for being a little bit like bland and boring and just kind of like meh, I do really appreciate the Glock in a sense that you're going to get a reliable weapon system. It's going to shoot well, and it's just kind of got that reputation behind it. Again, even talking about the Taurus G2C, I know everyone shits on the Taurus. I don't know. Like I said earlier, I really think it's like Nickelback syndrome. Someone somewhere along the line was like, fuck Taurus, that sucks, don't use it. And I think everyone's just like, yeah, it's cool to shit on Taurus. But again, for this gun, it's a cheap gun that I throw in the car. If someone breaks into my car and steals it, it's not the end of the fucking world. It shoots well, it's a little snappy, but it's, a small 9mm pistol. I don't really know what you would expect. It is what it is, but it works pretty well. I really haven't had any significant jams or malfunctions, and to have this gun at least with me or close to me at all times is worth it. Dig that macro. Is that the Legion? Yeah. So this is the Legion version. I think the Legion version is $3-ish, $4-ish, $100 more, something along that line. Why I got the Legion specifically, like I said, I feel like I kind of have normal size man hands. Whenever anything is coming with a little magwell like this, it really just gets me excited because it gives like the pinky butt of my hand like a real good stop to rest on. So even with a little bit of a smaller framed pistol, which this is, because of that magwell, like this gun, I can get an amazing grip on. Although it is quite a bit smaller than the Glock 17, I actually would argue that I get a better grip on the P365 because of the grip and the magwell than I do the Glock 17. Now, could I add a magwell to this? Yeah, sure. Currently, I'm just running the little Glock butt plug there with no magwell, just because I like the stock look. PSA crank will do the job for a truck gun. Yeah, I agree with that. Especially if you get it in 300 blackout. That would be a pretty fucking awesome 300 blackout little truck gun. I'm actually going to, I'm gonna get the crank. I've been wanting it for literally since before it came out. I remember they announced it at SHOT Show in like fucking 2021 or something like that. And ever since then, I was like, crank. Like I was actually like on the Reddit forums, like posting like, where's the crank? Where crank, I think I would personally get the crank in 5.56, 223. Just because I have a 300 blackout AR. I like it. There's nothing wrong with a 300 blackout round, but I've shot the crank in 5.56 and it is just like so low recoiling. It's fucking awesome. And also, honestly, the biggest reason is 5.56 is just going to be cheaper. All right, sorry, I'm taking a drink here. Thomas Simmons asks if I've seen combat. Have I ever been shot at? So, no and yes. I have not seen combat before. I'm not involved in any like military, anything like that. I have immense respect for all of our troops and service members. I have a lot of buddies who are Marines, actually. So I have a lot of experience with those dudes. But no, I'm not going to claim any sort of false valor. I have no military experience, but it was something I thought about early on. Just kind of ended up taking a little bit of a different path with schooling and stuff. So never seen combat, but mad respect to everyone who has, and, appreciate everybody's service for sure in any regard. I have been shot at before, but no, not in the military. I have been shot at, yes. The reason I ask is because the other day I gave a ride to a guy, and now I want a good way to defend myself if I was in that situation again, to be able to defend myself if I needed to. Yeah, so that, yes. I probably wouldn't give anybody a ride nowadays, to be incredibly honest. But yeah, to have a gun, again, like I keep circling back to the Taurus here because to have a gun in the car at all times, I think is just incredibly fucking valuable. Again, these are three of the concealed carry guns that I use the most, and this is kind of my like backup, right? Like if I'm just running to the store real quick and I forget my Glock or I forget the AXG, I always have the Taurus in the car. Again, it's one of those things where you kind of have to like you have to think practically. Like out of all these three, which would I like to have at all times? I mean, definitely the SIG Legion, right? I mean, it's got the comps, it's got a full size standard capacity of that 17+1, it's got a good grip, it's got a good recoil pattern. But just to be honest with myself, like I'm not leaving this in my car all the time. Car break-ins do happen and they happen pretty frequently. So for me, I'm not leaving this gun in my car to get fucking stolen. Like I said, I spent $1,300 on this. And if someone steals this gun from me, I'm gonna have a bad fucking day. Not that I want anyone to steal this gun from me, but if someone stole this out of my car, I would be pissed, but literally I spent less than $100 on this setup, so it's not the end of the world. So I would kind of go into it with that mindset, right? Like if you're gonna buy a gun to strictly keep in the car at all times, I mean, you could fuck it, dude. All right, throw a Vector in the car. Like let's throw a fucking laser and light and a $600 EOTech on it. That'd be a great truck gun, right? But if someone breaks into your car and steals that $3,000 setup, like, are you going to be able to eat that? So that would kind of be my advice to you is if you wanted a gun to throw in the car, to be honest, I would maybe recommend like going to some local gun shows or local gun stores and maybe find like a cheaper used gun that you feel like you're gonna be able to practice with it, shoot okay with it, but it's not gonna be the end of the world if someone swoops it from you. I like the Glock 45 9mm. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Glock 45 as well. I actually, I really struggled between the Glock 17 and the Glock 45 when I was, thinking about purchasing it. Honestly, I wish I would have waited like a year and gotten the Glock 47. Obviously, so Glock 47 is the what is it, the Border Patrol gun now, and it's a Glock 17 frame that's like shortened a little bit up front, so you can, run both the Glock 17 slide and the Glock 19 slide. So essentially, it's like a hybrid Glock 17, Glock 45. Excuse me. You should get Shadow Systems DR920 if you like the 17. Yeah, it's a good option. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Shadow Systems fan, if I'm being totally honest with y'all. Not that there's anything wrong with them or I think they suck, but they're more expensive, and to me, I would personally I would rather buy this and pimp it out to my liking than kind of buy a gun that's like already pimped out from the store. Again, not that there's anything wrong with the Shadow Systems guns. I've shot them a good handful of times. I really have nothing bad to say, except that like just personally, I would rather buy the cheaper gun and upgrade it myself versus like spending all the money up front to get a little bit more of an upgraded gun. Now, obviously I'm a kind of a gun dweeb, or I wouldn't be on the internet talking about guns all day. But if you're someone who's just like, I just want a good, solid gun, yeah, Shadow Systems aren't bad. It's kind of going to be your Gucci Glock upgraded. I just put a down payment on an M&P Shield Plus 4-inch, super awesome gun. The trigger, yeah. The M&P like Performance Center or the Shield Plus guns are like, they shoot really well. They're pretty good, solid options. I don't think they're aesthetically the most pleasing, which is like, my personal preference. Not that there's absolutely anything wrong with them at all. They're cool weapon systems. I just don't have any. I've shot quite a bit, but they're cool, man. I have the same G2C in 40. Is it the same size? I guess it would be if it's the same G2C. That has got to be a snappy little bitch, because not that the 9mm is bad, but it's a snappy little gun. So to have that in 40, I think would be a little bit snappy. My Taurus G3 doesn't have a red safety indicator. Not the end of the world. This is the G2C, so a little bit of a different model. I think that's one of the differences between the G2C and the G3. My buddy Dally's a Taurus and brags about it all the time. It's not a bad gun. Again, I really think that everyone kind of has like that Nickelback syndrome with Taurus specifically. Um, is it the most like? Is it like this? Is it a over $1,000 super high end like elite EDC gun? No, I mean it's not. But it's not meant to be that, right? Like it's meant to be a decent, reliable gun that you can get pretty cheap if you're balling on a budget and still like access a gun. Again, I haven't had really any malfunctions with this gun at all. And hey, it works, it shoots, and I don't mind if it gets stolen because it was like $100. FN 510, FN macro. I do like the FN series of handguns for sure. Smith & Wesson 5.7 and St. Victor 300 Blackout. All right, sorry, I'm getting lost in the sauce in the comments. What weapon system is this? What is the one on the right? So real quick, so this is the P365 AXG Legion. We got the Glock 17 and we got the Taurus G2C, kind of three of my EDC carry weapons that we're talking about today. I am, of course, getting distracted in the comment section. So as far as 5.7, to be honest, I haven't done enough research on the 5.7 ballistically. I know there's some stuff out there, but I think 9mm is going to be better ballistically. I mean, yell at me if I'm wrong, please. I know the 5.7 is a little bit low recoiling, and you could have a pretty good capacity. It's not that it's a bad option. As far as buying a St. Victor in 300 Blackout, I'm a gun nerd, obviously. I personally wouldn't do that. I'd rather buy and build out an AR-15 chambered in 300 Blackout, kind of from the ground up. Not that I think the Saint series is a bad series, a bad line of guns. It isn't. But just personally, I really enjoy, especially for ARs, like buying all of the individual components and building it from the ground up. The AR that I most often use in the collection is a 300 Blackout build. I think I got like a 10.5 barrel in it. I have a ton of different parts in that one, but I like doing that. I like building it all out to my specific specifications. Walther PPK, yeah, another good option. Don't have a ton of experience with that. So if I was going to own a cheaper gun like the Taurus, I would stretch it a little more and maybe get a Ruger American made. Overall better experience. Sorry, lost in the comments again. Yeah, no, I don't mind Rugers either. I have another Ruger sitting on, whatever. I like Ruger, they're a good gun, but I got just a fucking amazing deal on this. Like I said, I bought this gun for about $70 so to me, it was totally worth it. I see your AXG Legion. Isn't that similar in a case where it's pimped out from the store? Yeah, so actually this is kind of a great point. So obviously, I was talking a little bit of shit about the shadow systems because it's, more money pimped out from the store. Same thing with the Saint, whatever the fuck, AR, more money pimped out from the store. So I bought this gun specifically because I was going to use it to carry. I bought this gun and the promise that I made to myself when I bought this gun, because I will do this with all my guns, is I'm not going to molest it and I'm going to carry it every fucking day. When I say I'm not going to molest it, I didn't want to add anything to it. I didn't want to get lost in the sauce of, and interestingly enough, I don't really have anything on the table today that I've messed with all that much. But take I have a Springfield Prodigy, for example. I did a trigger job on it. I added ports. I added a magwell. I switched out some internal springs to reduce the trigger weight. And I fucking love doing that shit. I love doing it. I love getting into the weeds. I love changing out the parts. But with this gun, I shot it. I felt it. I did really well with it. And I like this gun fits in my hand, I think, better than any other handgun in the collection. I don't know why. It really fits my hand well, and I shot very well with it. And I was kind of in the market for like a better carry gun. I was kind of just carrying the Glock 17 Gen 3, and obviously there's nothing wrong with that. But to get something like this AXG Legion, where I have the 17+1 capacity of a Glock 17, but I'm dealing with a smaller, lightweight, more streamlined gun, I thought was really cool. I actually shot this at like a SIG demo day at the gun store and just kind of fell in love with it. So yeah, a little bit of hypocrisy on my end. I usually don't like to buy a gun from the store and be done. That's rarely what I do. But when I bought this one, I promised myself that I wouldn't add anything to it. And that's because the more you change out internal parts, the less reliable a gun's gonna be. I was mainly carrying this Glock 17 because it was one of my only guns that's like kind of stock, and I really trusted the reliability with it. So when I bought this gun, again, like I said, my promise to myself was I'm not gonna molest it, I'm not gonna change the internals, I'm gonna keep the reliability from the factory. So that's kind of why I did it that way. Interesting, great info. I appreciate that. People complain about the Hellcat. I like it. Again, there are so many subcompact 9mm guns on the market. I really advise you just like pick them up at the gun store, or if you can rent it, that'd be great. But pick them up, shoot them, see how they feel in your hand. Just kind of depending on your hand size and how you function with the hand and the gun is really should like be the deciding factor. $70 is crazy. I'm gonna need to go to more gun shows. Yeah. So this is actually like, it's not the only used gun I have in the collection. Actually, I show it all the time, is the P226 Zev by Sig Sauer that I have, is a used gun as well. And I want to say I got that one, I think $600 off from the MSRP, which is fucking amazing. But yeah, this one specifically, I think the MSRP of this guy is like $250. I'm trying to remember the lore behind that $70 price, because this was like years ago. Yeah, so this dude was selling it. Whenever anyone's selling a gun, like I always just kind of ask, well, how much you selling it for, man? He's like, well, like I spent $300 on it, and I was kind of hoping to get like $200 or something, but like no one wants this fucking Taurus, and like it's not like working very well, like it keeps jamming, like whatever. And I was like, okay, like can I take a look at it, right? So I grabbed it, like racked the slide back, and it was dirty as fuck. Like it was just so dirty. And I'm like kind of thinking to myself, like, well, shit, like, does it just need to be fucking cleaned? Kind of just talking to the guy a little bit more. Like he wasn't really like a gun dude, like he didn't, you could just kind of tell he wasn't really in the weeds on guns and firearms. So I was kind of venturing, and I was kind of gambling that like he didn't clean this, and it's just kind of jamming because he's got probably like 500 rounds through the bitch and hasn't cleaned it, right? So talked him down to $70. The gun show was ending. He was like, I just want to get rid of it. Like, fuck it, here you go. And I was like, all right, cool. So here's your $70. I slopped the, Taurus GTC, took her home, cleaned it, did some function checks. It worked great. And the next range trip, I think I put 200 or 300 rounds through it and not a single malfunction. And to be honest, I have never had a malfunction with this gun. So that's her little story, her little tale there. I have a Hellcat Pro and love it, but I've added a threaded barrel and comp. Yeah, Hellcat is a great series. I think at this point, like if I were just now like on the market looking for a good EDC, and I'm not going to shit on the Hellcat because I like it quite a bit, but I think to get something with like ports or an integrated comp is a better move when compared to something like a threaded barrel and an added compensator, just because you are adding a little bit of extra length. Not that it's a bad system or a bad setup, but you're going to add some extra length to that. I'm a guy with really big hands, and I'm torn between a Glock 19X and a Glock 45. Any advice or your pick? They're basically the exact same guns. Yeah, they're the same gun. One's an FDE, one's in black. I would get to be honest, if I were between those two, I'd get the Glock 47 and just buy a Glock 19 slide, because you can get an aftermarket slide real cheap. And then you also do have the option to shoot a full-size slide if you wanted to. I'd pick the 45 over the 19X because that little like fucking carry loop at the bottom of the 19X drives me bonkers. I think it's just fucking ugly. And I don't really like the FDE. How cute you got your wife's gun. Yes, these are all my wife's guns. She finally unlocked the chastity belt, let me out of my cuck corner, and I'm out on YouTube today. I clean my guns every 2 to 3 rounds. I hope that's 200 to 300. To be honest, I clean these guns, like people have made comments like, oh, your guns are too clean. Like, what a loser. I'm like, dude, I fucking clean my guns all the time. Usually when I go to the range, I do a fucking horrible job at being like, oh, like I shot 200 rounds and like 50 rounds and 300. Like, I don't fucking know, man. I'm just shooting them, right? So I don't really care about like round counts for cleaning. For me, usually every time I go to the range and I come home, I like honestly, usually I'm sitting right here. I got the TV right up here. I throw my gun cleaning stuff right there in the corner, and I just kind of clean them. So yeah, I usually clean my guns after every range trip or every other range trip. You just need a Hellcat Red Eye Challenger or TRX. Would you trust the PSA dagger? So I actually do have a little bit of experience with the PSA dagger. I think I actually just dropped a short yesterday, the day before, on me shooting the dagger a little bit. I don't know. In a, in a world where you can buy a Glock, I don't know why I would buy the PSA dagger over that. Again, for me, a lot of the newer guns, they just don't have the long term. I keep wanting to say like case study. Like they don't really have a long term review out on them. I mean, the PSA daggers, like they've just come out in the past couple years. So would they be good for 1,000 rounds, 2,000 rounds, 3,000 rounds? Like, yeah, maybe, but like I know for a fact the Glock 17 is going to be good over time. Again, the PSA daggers are essentially like they are really nothing but Glock clones. And if I'm going to get a clone, I'm going to get the original that I know works. Not that the PSA dagger is a bad gun. For me, I'm pretty married to this as my concealed carry EDC carry gun. So for me, like let's say I picked up a PSA dagger for $350. Like I'm sure it's going to work. It's going to be a fun range toy. I can pimp it out a little bit, right? Because it does use those aftermarket Glock parts. So I don't think it's a bad option. But if I were to be like, I don't have any, like whenever y'all ask me these questions, like it kind of just depends on the context. And I kind of answer most of them in a sense of like, if I have 0 guns and I want a concealed carry gun, would I buy the PSA dagger over a Glock? And the answer to that would be no. Sorry, we'll get to the 1911. What's the one on the right? Yeah, so this is the Sig Sauer P365 AXG Legion, Glock 17 Gen 3, and the Taurus G2C. Again, it's kind of lame, but YouTube Live will not let me pick up any of these guns, so I can't touch them. So that's why I'm not touching any of these guns today. Do I think the 1911 is a good gun? Yeah, I do. I think I appreciate it more old school vibes than new school vibes in a sense of like, if I were to have a 1911, there's actually one I'm looking at getting. I have a couple of 2011s in the collection, but as far as like a 45 ACP 1911, I think they're cool for a collection purpose. I really do appreciate like kind of the history with them. Like they're cool fucking guns, man. But as far as like, again, as far as a practical gun, would I buy a 1911 over a Glock 17? No. Glock 17 is going to be more reliable, higher capacity. It's going to be better in pretty much almost every way. But do I think 1911s are cool? Yes. Do they have a lot of awesome like Americana history to them? Yes. And do they shoot really well in that 45? Yeah, they do. Sweet guns. Just again, if it was going to be the one gun I'd ever buy, would I buy that? No. Jake Thompson says, hey, what's up, Jake Thompson? I don't know what CJ Likes stuff says 20 to 30. I don't really know what that means. I'm too poor to shoot 200 rounds at once. Yeah, I understand. For cleaning, I just look at them and feel the slide until they need a clean. I probably clean them almost every trip to the range, couple hundred rounds. Yeah, again, for me, I don't like to think about it. I just like to have them clean. And honestly, like, again, might be a little bit of my autism here, but cleaning guns for me is just like incredibly relaxing. I enjoy doing it. So for me to clean guns at the end of every range trip, oh, Jesus, is well worth it. Jose says, I have a Taurus G3C and it's reliable as a Glock and worth half the cost. Like I said, man, I have not had any reliability issues with this Taurus G2C. Again, it is cheaper than a Glock. Like I said earlier, it kind of has that Nickelback syndrome. Everyone will kind of shit on it for no reason, but whatever. Jake Thompson, I actually have a kind of lengthy question about the P365X macro, if you're able to answer. It's about holsters. Yeah, man, ask it. We'll get to it. How do you feel about the 1911 as an everyday carry? I don't love that. Again, if you are comfortable with it and you shoot it a lot and you feel the ability to be very high speed and accurate with it, fucking go for it, dog. Your gun, your life. For me, I probably couldn't really think of a worse gun than a 1911, like full size 45 ACP for EDC. The reasons being, it's fucking big, it's fucking heavy, and you have a real fucking low capacity. And those are like the three main things that I think of when I'm thinking EDC. I'm going to be wanting something smaller that has a high capacity, that's pretty lightweight, so I can carry it. Again, the 1911 specifically, not that they're unreliable, but like with an exposed hammer, you just add another component. With the 1911 too, like, all right, so this gun, like, it has no fucking safeties. Like, I'm going to pick this up, I'm going to pull the trigger, it's going to go bang, right? 1911, if you like pussyfoot your grip, pulling it out of the holster, you might not hit that grip safety. If you forget to hit the manual safety, it's not going to go off. So I'm not trying to shit on the 1911. I think they're cool, but would I recommend a 1911 as a carry gun? I would not at all. It's big, it's bulky, low capacity, and it has two safeties that you need to be like cognizantly ready to actuate. That being said, if you are practicing your like draws and having a clean 1911 and you're fucking accurate and fast with it, you are not to be fucked with. So it's really all kind of about like your practice with the gun, but would I recommend that as far as like a first time EDC weapon? No. Nathan says, I'm about to be 21 in a few months, so I want to get a pistol, and I don't know what a good gun is maybe, but in the meantime, how long do you think is good? What long gun do you think is good for home defense? That's an incredibly nuanced question. To be honest, I rock this Glock 17 with a Surefire X300 in the nightstand gun rotation. I've rocked the Chris Vector with a Streamlight for home defense rotation. As far as a long gun specifically, if I could give you like the most badass home defense gun, I would either recommend a 300 Blackout AR with a suppressor. I think that would be my recommendation. 300, like maybe a 7.5 or a 10.5 inch barrel, 300 Blackout AR with a suppressor and a light would kind of be the short answer for like the best home defense long gun. You're going to be able to shoot suppressed, so you're not going to blow out your ears. You're going to have a good rifle caliber. You're going to have the good manual of arms with the AR-15. I think that's a great option. CJ says, I don't know if you've heard of the Wilson Combat or Nighthawk Customs, but they make awesome 1911s and ARs and are both factories or within an hour's drive of me. That's cool. Yeah, I am familiar with Wilson Combat and Nighthawk Customs. I like picking up their guns and playing with them at the gun store. I am not going to spend the money to buy one of those, to be just incredibly honest. EDC a Glock 23. I love your Bubbles little avatar as well. Yeah, dude, I'm a big fan of Glocks. Like I said earlier, to me, the Glock 17, shit, man. The Glock 17 Gen 3 fits my hand specifically pretty well. So whenever I'm talking like EDC Glocks, or EDC guns in general, like I just got to make sure they fit my hand. And those smaller Glocks don't do it for me. But if you feel comfortable with it, you're never really going to go wrong carrying a Glock. Gen 3 Master Race. Yeah, I love the Gen 3. I'm going to work backwards in the comments. Sorry. I love the Gen 3. I actually bought this because at the time my dick was super hard about the Franklin Armory Glock binary trigger. They said they were going to come out with it for Glock 17 Gen 3. I really liked the aftermarket support of the Gen 3. And again, I really love my like 90s cop shows, LARP vibes. So I did get the Gen 3. Looking back in hindsight, would I prefer to get a newer generation? No, but I will say I wish I bought this used. I bought this new and it was like $550, and my buddy just got one like law trade-in or whatever for like $300. So I love the Gen 3. I have no regrets on buying the Glock 17 Gen 3. I just wish I would have bought it law enforcement trade-in. I'm 20, can't buy a pistol yet, but I do have a well-built SCT 19 Gen 3 frame. Any good optic ready slides you would recommend? To be honest, I think if you wanted to stay kind of like more with a traditional slide, Brownells has some pretty good like Gen 3 slides with both rear and front serrations that are optics cut as well. But excuse me. But if you want a little bit of a more funky slide, you can get some pretty good slides with like some cool camos and shit on them. The other Glock I have in the collection does have an aftermarket slide, and I for the life of me can't remember where I bought it, but it's got like a cool like multi-cam FDE camo to it. So if you wanted a little bit more of a traditional slide look, I'd go with the Brownells. I think it's like 150 or $200, and it comes with, like I said, rear serrations, front serrations, and optics cut. That's why they make the double stack 1911. 16 rounds on 45 ACP is too big. I still carry them in the winter, so I can hide under my jacket. Canic for summertime carry. Yeah, I mean, he was asking about 1911 specifically. So like the 20, can we all just agree to call these double stack 1911s 2011s? Like they're the same. I think it's bullshit that Staccato has like the fucking trademark to that. Like that's fucking lame. Fuck Staccato. Yeah, so 2011s, they do make some really cool EDC options for 2011s. I think I was just like, Bull Armory has like a little mini, basically like the Staccato SC or CS or whatever the fuck it's called. A small like subcompact 2011 with like ports in it. I think that would be really cool. But again, when we're talking ports and when we're talking 2011s, my fear is that like dirt would get in these ports and it would fuck up the reliability. But yeah, 2011s are not a bad EDC option as long as you can fucking get one on in a good price, I guess I would say. Everett says, I love girls. Are you a part of any gun clubs, or have you ever thought about joining any gun clubs? I also love girls. I feel like it's more of a love-hate relationship. I am not a part of any gun clubs. Have I ever thought about joining one? No. I guess not that I wouldn't, but to be honest, between like gym and YouTube and work, I got way too much shit going on anyways. So they're real. Do you have any imitation firearms? Yeah, these are all real. I don't have any imitation firearms. Not sure why I would ever want one. I don't know. I guess airsoft guns were cool like when I was like 12. Like they're fun, but like they're just as expensive as a real gun, so I'm gonna buy a fucking real one. Okay, so what's the price range on a Nighthawk AR with the suppressor and everything? Honestly, I don't really know the Oh, CJ answered. Cool. 15,000. That's fucking ridiculous. I don't think you should be spending over $1,000 on a fucking AR. Build one yourself, and you could get the exact parts you want for a hell of a lot cheaper. CZ P10C Glock killer. I don't know. I like a Glock still. P365XL has pretty good slide new. Could use a bigger optics cut and taller irons. I don't know why you would not to shit on the XL, but I mean, if you have the option between an XL and like the macro, you get the macro. The comp is fucking dope. T-Sys 9 DS is good for the money. Okay, so Mr. Jordan, do you have any other experience with T-Sys? Because I was actually looking at buying one of their 1911 clones. Like World War II clones. That was the 1911 I was looking at, and it's like fucking $300. So Jordan, if you have any T-Sys experience, let me know. Polymer sucks across the board. I prefer the metal. I will say that. Any sort of steel or aluminum frame, any sort of metal frame in general, I think is more vibey for sure. Carlos says, I'm thinking of getting a gun license. Anything I need to know on getting one? Depends on your state, big dog. I remember meeting you in Milwaukee last year. I own a Canic TP9 SC. What do you think? I actually just started the channel like 2 months ago, so I don't think you met me in Milwaukee, but I would love to meet you. I own a Canic TP9. I think the Canic TP9s are solid. I don't have one personally, but meh, they're good guns. Mr. Russell asks, he just got a Glock 19. Don't have a holster yet. What are your thoughts on Alien Gear holsters? Brett M says, subbing for base gun info. I fucking appreciate that, big dog. Yeah, dude, I keep forgetting to panhandle for subscribers. Everyone subscribe, por favor. It really means a lot to me. I come out with new content all the time. Still a super small channel, but the benefit to subscribing to a small channel is if you want me to talk about something in a video, I'll make the video. I don't care. And two, I'm not gonna bullshit you guys because I don't get free shit. Actually, I have a video that I just filmed before I got on today, and I'm gonna drop it tomorrow. And it's basically me shitting on the Echelon 4.0C. Um, Not that I think the Echelon 4.0C is a shitty gun. I did shoot it at the range the other day. But I think, to be incredibly honest, it's absolute bullshit that these fucking like infomercial gun tubers get on YouTube and they get these guns for fucking free. And then they give a stellar review of them, and everyone's like, oh, it must be a super amazing gun. This gun tuber guy loved it. It's like, well, yeah, well, no shit. He got it for free. And if he shits on any Springfield guns, Springfield's not going to give him any more free fucking guns. So don't be sheep, people. Sorry, that's my rant. What are my thoughts on alien gear holsters? So I actually had one alien gear holster in my life. It was actually for this gun right here, Ruger SP 101. And I actually ended up not liking it at all. I thought it was incredibly expensive and not worth it. So as far as holsters go, dude, to be honest, here would really be my advice. Buy like 4 of them off Amazon. Don't spend more than 25, 30 bucks a holster. Buy 4 of them, see which one you like the best, return the other 3. This one I got off Amazon for 20 bucks. This one I actually got off Temu again for 10. This one I got off Temu for $1.50. That holster kind of sucks. This one works perfectly fine. This one is the best out of the 3. The carbon fiber is super lightweight. It feels super strong and stable. The retention screws work super great. I am not a holster snob. I have one snobby holster, and it is the Tier 1 Concealment MS. And it was 130 bucks, and it's actually my least favorite holster. So I am not a holster snob at all. I think there's some very viable options that you can get off of like Amazon that are a hell of a lot cheaper, that are absolutely going to do the job. So that would be my advice. Jordan says, literally had a staccato owner congratulating me on not overspending. Yeah. I have a couple of like kind of clickbaity videos that I'm dropping or have dropped on like me being like, dude, fuck staccato, but like straight up fuck staccato. Their guns are good. They're high quality. There's nothing wrong with the guns themselves. But anytime I'm looking at a firearm, like I am not fucking made out of money. It's all kind of like cost per value to me in a sense. And I think you're not getting your cost per value with the staccato. I have a video, long form on the channel, like basically talking about my Springfield Prodigy that I upgraded. Like I upgraded the trigger to a 2.5 pound trigger. I got V8 ports in the gun. I added a mag well. I added an optic, all for like $800 less than you would buy a stock staccato P. So for me, it's not worth the value for a staccato. Carlos says he lives in California and he subscribed. I fucking appreciate it, dog. My advice move. Have you been able to find or shoot a Kimber CDS9? I have them at the local gun store. I have not been able to shoot them. I actually, my really only Kimber experience, my dad bought a, what the fuck is it called? Like one of the Micro 9s from Kimber. And even that one like shot incredibly well, just because it is like that metal frame gun. So I like it. As far as like 2011s, really the only one I have is the Springfield Prodigy. And I love that gun because I pimped it out with the trigger and the ports, and it is fucking fast as shit and it shoots flat as shit. It's awesome. Excuse me. Does anyone know what a LCC concealed carry exactly is? Like an LTC concealed carry? Brad says gun license and Cali or construct constitutional carry, I think is what he means. But yeah, Everett says, LOL, my bad, I'm driving and listening to you live, so talk to speech said, I love girls. I meant to say I love guns. Yeah, love guns too, man. Just not part of any gun clubs, to be honest, just because like I don't really know those are like a thing. Brad also says, I rock a Chinese T-Rex Arms holster clone. I'm not spending $100, $150 for the same build quality I can get from China for 20 bucks. Dude, I will absolutely second that. Like I said, just filmed another video on kind of like low mid-tier holsters versus like the tier 1 concealment holster I have. And I can't stomach spending that much money on a holster. I was actually at the range with my buddy, and he has a P365 like XL or some shit. And he was like kind of shitting on my holster a little bit. Like he was like, oh, well, my holster like rides lower so I can get a better draw. And I'm like, well, this was $20, so I don't care. Chaos Theory says, I'm not a 2011 fan. I'd rather a SIG 226. Yeah. So I have a P226 Zev. And I fucking love that gun to death. I pimped that out, have a ton of aftermarket shit on it. It's fucking awesome. I'm a fan of like just a different variety, right? So I can appreciate the 2011. I can appreciate the SIG. I appreciate them all. Holster, don't have any familiarity with that. Jolly, yeah, this is a Glock 17 Gen 3. This is, give me 1 second. I'm gonna respond to this fucking text message. 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Sorry, gang. So yeah, Glock 17 Gen 3, SIG P365 AXG Legion, Taurus G2C. Nathan says, well, I have to go, but thank you for answering all my questions. I subscribed. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate that. I really do appreciate any subscribes to the channel. Like I said, I do have new content dropping pretty much daily. Actually, it has been daily. The channel's been up for like a month and a half. No, little over 2 months, I guess. Shit, time flies when you're making content and working and at the gym. Yeah, appreciate any subscribes, y'all. Legion with full SIG armor job done to it. Yeah, dude, I love the SIGs. This is the first SIG I have in the collection, and it's kind of spiraled from there. CJ says, my mom is looking at a Micro 9, and a guy in the area does awesome engraving for a really good price. So I think she's just waiting to get one for the black slides. The engraving pops. Dude, black slide engravings for the fucking win. The Micro 9s from Kimber are fucking sick. They actually shoot really well. I like them quite a bit. Scrubbles, that's an interesting name. Subscribed, new to the channel, just joined the live stream. Love it and love the Glock 19. Well, I appreciate that, Scrubbles. T-Rex arms, sidecar, and Raptor. I don't love sidecars. I think I have a long form video. Like, again, dude, this shit is all fucking preference. So I will like absolutely say like everything's preference. I like running. I mean, as you can see, I rock all of these EDC guns. Like I raw dog all of them. I don't have any optics. I don't have any lights, and I'm not rocking any extra mags. Is that the absolute best setup in the whole wide world? No, and I'm not going to tell you that it is. But for me, I'd rather make sure I have the gun on me than not have the gun. And for what I have to wear to work, for what I wear to the gym, keeping these guns as lightweight and as slim as possible is going to be my personal preference. Any Cycli Optics owners in here? I'm not familiar with that. Sorry, I'll get to you, Everett. James says, the best part about the T-Rex sidecar is you don't have to run it as a sidecar. You can remove it. Yeah, yeah, you can. Again, all personal preference. Rollo, this is a Glock 17 Gen 3. Everett asks, how many of your guns are used versus brand new? Some people have a fear of buying used guns when they say the quality is not as good. What's your opinion? So I have, out of the whole collection, I have a good handful of used guns. I have a good handful of new guns. This gun is used. This gun is new. This gun is new. I would say it entirely depends on the purpose of the gun and the availability of aftermarket parts. For something like a Glock 17, I would have no fucking problem buying this gun used. Because let's say like worst case scenario, right? Let's just say I take it to the range and it doesn't function. Okay, it's pretty easy for me to change out parts and troubleshoot the Glock 17, right? Like if it's a fucking shitty extractor, I can replace the extractor. If it's not accurate and the barrel shot out, I can replace the barrel pretty easily, right? So it's an easy gun to troubleshoot. Some of the guns I have used in the collection, well, this one, because it was cheap as shit, the P226 Zev build that I have is a used gun, but again, the 226 has an amazing aftermarket support. Now, let's say I was looking at something like a Chris Vector. I would not fucking buy this gun used. If I take this to the range and I'm starting to have problems, like I'm kind of fucked, right? It's not easy to just like, oh, replace the barrel or replace an extractor or replace the like. It's not easy to find those parts. If I were buying a gun for like concealed carry, like this gun, like I'm gonna use this gun primarily as my first, like as my go-to EDC. I'm probably not gonna want this used. Is it more expensive new? Well, of course, but if I'm gonna trust my life to it, I'm not buying it used. Something like a Glock or something like an AR, right, where we can very easily at home on the workbench, like replace any parts we need. I don't mind buying that used because it's got a great aftermarket support to it. Why no dot? Yeah, I do have dots on some of my other handguns. These are my like go-to EDC weapons. I don't like running dots on them. I think the dots drastically increase the size. Same with the flashlights. Like it's just not my preference. In my personal opinion, at a EDC like fighting distance, like anywhere from 0 to 25 yards, personally, I am just as accurate and just as fast running irons as I would be a dot. Again, everything's personal preference. To me, the benefit of the dot doesn't outweigh the added weight and added size when I'm looking at something as an EDC weapon. Now, if I'm talking about like an outside the waistband, like ranged LARP gun, yeah, I'm going to run a dot. But to me, I grew up shooting pistols, iron sights, and I feel very comfortable with them. So to add the extra bulk of an iron, or excuse me, the extra bulk of an optic just isn't quite worth it to me. I only have a pistol optic for faster target acquisition and night vision use. Night vision is a good point. I don't run night vision a ton, but yeah, it is a little bit faster for target acquisition. Again, just in my experience, irons and optics are at a very close distance, just about the same speed for me. So it's just not worth it for me personally. A used Glock is always going to work. Agree. Like I said, even if it doesn't, super easy to change out parts. My favorite gun I have this gun featured on the channel all the time. And if I do have a new group of folks here, please hit me with the subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it if you like kind of gun content. Usually the live streams are a little bit more like me ranting and informal. Again, I apologize for my voice today. I'm sick of shit. But subscribe to the channel. I have a ton of shorts. I have a ton of long forms. And we're going to be doing a ton of live streams. Anyways, favorite gun. I have a Rifle Dynamics. It's called the Rifle Dynamics Quick Hatch. It's an AK, like shorty AK that's kind of all upgraded and tuned up. I have a ton of content on the Rifle Dynamics Quick Hatch on the channel because it is probably my favorite long gun. As far as favorite handguns, I would have to say my P226 Zev build. I don't have that on the table, but again, that's featured in a ton of my videos if you're interested in it. I have that guy all upgraded and pimped out. It's fucking sick. So those are probably my two favorite guns at this point. He's telling facts about the Vector. Yeah, for like kind of more specialized guns, the more specialized they are, the less aftermarket support and the more pain in the ass they are to kind of switch around. I'm going to have to leave. The stream is too laggy. All right, sorry, man. I wish it wasn't laggy for you. When it comes to firearms, I prefer the AK, I assume, 47, because you can modify it to be more modular and shoots a bigger round. The gun I like using a pistol, Glock 40, Bear Country, yeah. I fucking love AKs. I'm definitely an AK nerd. Do I own night vision goggles? I do not, unfortunately, own any sort of night vision. Muzzle Broke is the name of the channel, and I am indeed incredibly poor. So it is a wee bit unfortunate. But yeah, dude, I think night vision stuff is super cool. I personally don't own it. Ramus, what's the gun on the right? P365 AXG Legion by Sig Sauer, Glock 17, Taurus G23. Just kind of going over some of my, whatever, EDC guns. Ryder says he uses the Desert Eagle. It better be in 50 cal. You are mega based, sir. P226 ? Based. Yes, it is. If you haven't seen the P226 Zev, like ZEV by ZevTech, it's fucking sick. You're going to absolutely love it if you love the 226. I have one in the collection that's like all upgraded. I have a ridiculous comp. I have an aftermarket like adjustable trigger. I have a skeletonized hammer. It's fucking awesome. Check it out on the channel. Everett asks, have you heard there's a lawsuit against SIG for their guns misfiring if you drop it and it fires on its own? Yeah, so that's like kind of been a thing with the M17, like the military one, ever since it kind of first came out, which is kind of interesting because it is a military gun and they usually put those through the, yeah, that's for the P320. Well, that's the same as the M17, right? Yeah. Yeah, the 226 I fucking love. I like a hell of a lot more than the P320. I don't know. It's vibier in my opinion. Yeah. I know Grantham did the like whatever the hell drop fire whatever test and it was fine, but I don't know, sample size of one. Flux Raider versus 300 Blackout versus MP5 for CQB work. All options are suppressed. I think my personal choice would be the 300 Blackout. Flux Raider is cool, but I don't know. I like MP5s, but just the manual of arms is like a little bit abysmal if you need to do like reloads and stuff like that. Alrighty, guys. So I think I'm probably gonna take off here in a couple of minutes. I've really enjoyed this live stream. I really appreciate you guys commenting and all that good stuff. Again, today the three guns we were talking about were going to be the super hella cheap Taurus G2C with the Temu holster and Temu tape. We have the kind of OG law enforcement gun, the Glock 17 Gen 3 with a little bit of a Talon grip and another Temu holster I got for like $10. And we have the Sig Sauer P365 AXG Legion, kind of my favorite of all these carry guns. Shoots super flat, comes with night sights, the comp, 17+1 capacity, pretty phenomenal little weapon system there. And of course, also the most expensive on the table. Jordan says he loves every Taurus he owns as well. Yeah, man, I haven't really had any significant issues with this one at all. Oh, he owns three Taurus G2Cs. Yeah, again, I kind of call it Nickelback syndrome. Everyone thinks they're supposed to shit on Taurus, so they do, even though it's not really a bad option. Again, this is kind of the one that I keep in the car at all times, just to have a gun in the car. And hey, if it gets stolen, it gets fucking stolen. Glock 17 was kind of my OG concealed carry gun. I really do enjoy carrying this. I'm very comfortable with the Glock 17. It's a ton of fun. And the P365 AXG Legion is kind of the newest in the collection. I kind of bought this to honestly kind of replace the Glock 17 as my concealed carry gun. All metal frame. I can get a real good grip on this. I appreciate the magwell. I appreciate the integrated comp. The trigger on it is pretty good as well. Alrighty, guys, I hope you've really enjoyed the live stream here on the Muzzle Broke channel. Please hit me with subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of stuff. I'm really kind of doing live streams almost every day, and I always have new content dropping on the channel. Jordan says, great gun to stash around the house if you're kid-free like myself. Dude, shout out to the kid-free gang. Brad says, I've seen Taurus compacts jam so much, even after lubed, I can never use one. Honestly, it kind of just depends on what gun you get. I know a lot of people have experienced like shitty reliability issues with the Prodigy as well. So yeah, it's always best to, no matter what gun you're running for like any sort of serious purpose in a sense of EDC or, home defense, you got to run that bitch and make sure she fucking runs. But alrighty, guys, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I really do appreciate everyone's comments as well. Jordan, Brad, Patrick, Everett, y'all have been great. Y'all have a super fun week. Keep it safe, keep it styling. I'll see you guys on the next live stream. That was a super lame catchphrase. Don't ever let me do that again. But I appreciate you guys. All right, take care, boys. I'm signing off. Please subscribe to the channel if you can. Peace out, homies.